Well, it's so good to have all of you connecting with us today, whether you're at home on the couch with a fire in the fireplace and a warm blanket wrapped around you, or maybe you're sitting on the beach, feet in the sand, sun out, and you've been complaining about how hot it is. No matter where you are, remember, we're one church right where you are. And this 2025 quickly is coming to an end. As we look into 2026, here's what I know. This year, all of us have had some mountaintop moments, haven't we? When you think back to 2025, you're going to think about those moments that are forever etched in your mind. One of those moments for me, my oldest daughter got married. I mean, that day, that moment, I'll never forget. And when I think about 2025, that's at the top. And all of us have had some really difficult, painful moments that we will wish that we could forget. But when we think back to 2025, again, those dark, painful moments will be etched into our lives. And for all of us, we've had countless moments that we have already forgotten. And so as we, again, bring this year to a close, and as we anticipate, get ready for a new year, there's one insight I just want to encourage you with, one insight that I pray will be a North Star to guide you into the next year. Why? Because, 2026 is going to look like 2025. Different mountaintop moments, different difficult, painful moments, different moments that we'll forget, but we'll filled with all of it. And this one insight, I pray, will be a North Star to guide you every step as you will move forward in life. So, with that said, let's start here. Let's go back all the way to the very beginning of time. When, human beings first started to emerge on this planet. And let me ask you a question. And don't overcomplicate the answer. At the very beginning, how did people communicate? Again, don't overcomplicate my question and don't overcomplicate the answer. How did people communicate with each other? And if you're thinking to yourself, Chris, they just talk to each other, you would get the answer right? They had to be in proximity to each other to communicate. Experts tell us that somewhere between 3 feet to 100 feet is where people can talk to each other. 3 feet is kind of close. We all have a personal bubble. For some of you, that personal bubble is like 1.5 feet. You like to talk really close to people. Other people, you're thinking 3 feet is way too close. Yours is more like at 6 feet. Have you ever talked with someone where you kind of just very gently, nonchalantly try to move out of their personal bubble? And they keep following you because they just don't have a 3-foot personal bubble or a 1.5 foot personal bubble. They have like a 2-inch. They just like to talk that close to you. No matter how you maneuver, they stay in your personal bubble. But from 3 to 100 feet, you can have a verbal conversation. Then experts say somewhere between 100 to 200 feet, that verbal conversation you still can have, but all of these factors influence it. For instance, wind direction influences that. The ambient noise, what is happening around you, influences that. How your vocal cords, how loud you are, or how soft you are, impacts this distance. But at this rate, this becomes really difficult to have a verbal communication. And when we think about, back to the beginning of time, there was a range where all of a sudden people couldn't communicate with each other anymore. Experts tell us that one of the first ways people communicated, other than talking to each other, when the distance got too big. Do you know what it was? The first method to communicate over distance was smoke signals. One person would light a fire and do smoke signals, and the other one would light a fire and do smoke signals. As long as they knew what signal was what, right? They could communicate, but smoke signals was one of the first ways people communicated over distance. Somewhere around 4,000 to 3,000 BC, the horse was domesticated. And it was towards the latter end of 3000 BC where they actually developed the saddle and the stirrups. And all of a sudden they started to use horses to communicate over distance, to pass messages, whether verbally or written. Then somewhere around 1350 BC, the Egyptians, we think, learned that homing pigeons could be used. Now, you would have to put that pigeon in a cage. You would have to transport that pigeon, maybe via horse, where you were going to take the message, but then you would write the response and send that pigeon back home. And here's what experts know. Homing pigeons can travel some 1,100 miles back home, and they can fly upwards of 60 miles an hour. Really efficient, but think about it. I mean, you release that pigeon and you just hope that someone doesn't shoot it for dinner, or you just hope that they don't run into a tree, right? You just hope that they actually make it back. And then, all of a sudden, with written language and different materials, people started to write letters that could be delivered, again, by horse or by homing pigeon. In the United States, it was 1775 that Benjamin Franklin became the first postmaster general. And letters were transported via horse, stagecoach, train, plane, motorcycles, cars, where you could sit down and write a letter or write a postcard and mail it. Then about 100 years later, it was actually 1876, it was Alexander Graham Bell that discovered that through cords and electricity, you could send voice through those. And he invented the telephone. The first message spoke was to his assistant. He said, "Mr. Watson, come here. I need to see you." I think about the technology of the phone over just my 52 years of life. I remember I was dating Kim, and all of a sudden they had come out with these long-distance calling cards. And it made long-distance calls more affordable. Not cheap and definitely not free, but more affordable. And you would sit down at a phone and you would bring out this calling card and it had this really long PIN number, and you started to type in all of the digits and just hoping that you wouldn't hit one wrong digit, because if you hit one wrong digit, you would have to start all over, and all of a sudden, once you got all of the digits in, it would call that person, and then you would just sit and hope that that other person would actually answer the phone. And when she did, we'd had so many minutes that were loaded on that calling card. And now, I mean, what's long distance? With cell phones, we don't even think about local calls versus long distance calls. We just call people. And now, think about all the different ways we can communicate with each other. I find myself just so inundated with all the different methods. In fact, there's times where I'm like, where did someone send me a text, or did they send me an email, or did they send me a Google chat, or did they send me a Facebook DM or an Instagram DM? Where did they send that picture? Where did they send that link? Where did they send that message? I find myself, I just don't remember anymore. Why? Because there's so many different ways where we can connect with each other. It was a couple of years ago that I found myself standing up over 18,000 feet. In fact, I snapped this picture. We're above the cloud lines, 18,000 feet. I was in Tanzania, the continent of Africa, making our way to Mount Kilimanjaro. And I stood right here. I recorded a video and posted it to Facebook, where people around the world could have watched it. 18,000 feet in Africa. hiking to Mount Kilimanjaro, right? It blew my mind. I couldn't believe that I had reception. You see, we live in a day and age where distance doesn't impact our communication. Distance doesn't impact our connection. But here's what I know is true for me and what I know is true for you. You can be connected, but completely isolated. You can be known, but all alone. You see, in the United States, there's a isolation, there's a loneliness epidemic. Can you feel it? Can you sense it in your own life? Where we are connected to anyone and everyone at any moment, but yet feel so isolated and so alone. And for all of us, we have this list of reasons why. We have perfected the list of reasons or excuses of why living alone is worth it. But is it really? Today I want to share a few words of wisdom. It's actually, these words are actually found in the book of Ecclesiastes. Ecclesiastes is this really big word. It gets connected back to an ancient Greek word. And this big word, all it means is simply this: teacher, preacher. That's what that big word means. And King Solomon, the son of David, King Solomon, who was one of the wisest people, was one of the most wealthy people, he had it all, wrote Ecclesiastes. And it's his approach to, as he investigated life and pulled out some life insights. And so I want to share with you just a few thoughts of King Solomon's. Remember, again, he's investigating, he's looking at just what's going on around, and then he's going to give us some life insight. So he starts with the investigative side, and this is what we're told in Ecclesiastes chapter 4. He goes, again, I saw something meaningless. That word meaningless that he opens up Ecclesiastes with, and he uses constantly throughout all of his writing. That word meaningless means breath or vapor. Right? It suddenly comes out and then it disappears. It dissipates. He goes, I saw something. He's investigating life. He goes, I saw something meaningless under the sun. And then he tells a story. He goes, there was a man all alone. He had neither son nor brother. He has no family around him, never been married. Something happened to his extended family, but he was all alone. There was no end to his toil. Yet his eyes were not content with his wealth. Meaning, he worked all the time. And his wealth showed it. He didn't take vacation. He didn't take PTO days. He didn't take the weekend off. I mean, he worked as early in the morning as he could, as late at night as he could, 7 days a week. He worked. He accomplished great things. He earned great wealth. He had it all. And for Solomon, he understood what it felt like. I don't understand this, and probably you don't understand what this feels like, to have all the wealth in the world. But here's what we all understand. We all understand that feeling of just not being content, don't we? You look at your life, you look at your family, you look at your work, you look at your income, you look at your car, you look at your house, you look at your wardrobe, you look at you, and all of a sudden we start comparing. And we quickly become so discontent. And this man gained everything financially, everything in work, in business. He had it all, but yet he still wasn't content with his wealth. And he asks, for whom am I toiling? Whom am I working? Whom am I accomplishing all these things? For whom am I doing all of this? And why am I depriving myself of enjoyment? He's like, I have it all. I've earned it all. Everything in life that people wanted to accomplish, I've gotten, but I'm not enjoying it. There's no joy in what I've accomplished. There's no joy in all of my wealth. This too is meaningless, is breath, is vapor, a miserable business. And then all of a sudden, Solomon is going to say, but there's something that's full of meaning. What this man has experienced, his breath, his vapor, is meaningless. And Solomon goes, yeah. But here's a life insight that I'm going to gift you. Based off of investigating this man's life, here's the meaning to hold on to. And he's actually going to give us 4 super critical insights when it comes to what brings real meaning in our life. And this is what he says. This is what he writes. 2 are better than 1. That's where he starts. You want meaning? It's not about being by yourself. You want meaning? It's not about being alone. You want meaning? 2 are better than 1 because, and remember, 4 very specific areas. The first one, they have a good return for their labor. I simply wrote efficient output. There's probably a better way to write that, but he's like, hey, they have a good return for their labor. 2 are better than 1. When you work with someone, when you link arms with someone who's different than you, that has different perspective than you, that has different gifting than you, that has different history than you, that has learned differently than you, when you have someone linked arms with you, guess what? You have better output, efficient output, a good return for their labor. We live in this day and age, and I'm sure I'm not the only one that's thought this before. I'll just do it by myself. It's faster. It's easier. I can just do it. I can just do it. And it's a lie we tell ourselves. And Solomon is calling it out. He's like, no. 2 are better than 1. Who are you linking arms with? They have a good return for their labor. He goes into the second insight, connected to 2 are better than 1. He goes, if either of them falls down, that phrase falls down can mean literally physically they fall down or morally they fall down. He goes, if either of them falls down, one can help the other up. This is about mutual support. That you have a relationship where, guess what? Together, you're helping each other up. If that person falls down, you're there to help them up, whether physically or morally. If you fall down, physically or morally, they're there to help. It's about mutual support, mutual help. Guess what? Hey, we are in this together. No matter what you do or what you do, I will be there. He goes, one can help the other up. My wife has phrased this simply as this: who is your 2 a.m. friend? Who's that person that you can call at 2 a.m. and they'll answer your phone? That they won't get mad for you calling. That they won't answer in disgust. That they know that if you call at 2 a.m. that you need their help. And oh, by the way, if they call you, you will answer. So many times our relationships become transactional. And it's difficult when all of a sudden you realize that you thought it was a mutual relationship, and all of a sudden you realize it's really a one-way relationship. And we want to pull and isolate. But someone's like, no, 2 are better than 1. Find someone who has the same value about mutual support. He goes on, he goes, also, if 2 lie down together, they will keep warm. But how can one keep warm alone? This is an image of traveling together. This is the picture that Solomon is painting. Right? Maybe you couldn't afford the luxury of a horse. And so now you're walking from one town to another town. And it's winter. And all of a sudden the sun goes down and it gets cold really quickly. And he goes, do you have someone that close to you that if you need to lay right by each other, right, get into their personal space, get into their bubble, that you realize, hey, this is about us supporting each other. I wrote down, this is about emotional strength, where you allow someone that close to you, where they really know what's going on inside of you. They really know what you're struggling with. They really know what's challenging you. They really know some of those dark secrets you don't want anyone else to know, but you have allowed them that close to you. And then he goes, the one may be overpowered. Two can defend themselves. This is about physical protection. That person who has your back, no matter what. A cord of 3 strands is not easily broken. You see, I think about Solomon as he investigates life and he sees this man who gained everything but was all alone. And then Solomon said, no, hey, that's meaningless. That's breath. That's vapor. But this is what has meaning. And he gives us 4 such important insights to what really brings meaning into our lives. And they are all about the 2 are better than 1. I want you to pause as you think about 2026. If you're married, 2 are better than 1. If you're dating someone, 2 are better than 1. If you lead a business, run a business, own a business, 2 are better than 1. When you think about your friendship circles, 2 are better than 1. This isn't about quantity. This is about quality, having the right people. And it's so easy when someone hurts us deeply, especially when someone we've allowed in our inner circle, we want to shove everyone out. And Solomon would say to me, oh, time out. No. Even when someone has hurt you deeply, who you allowed in your inner circle, 2 are still better than 1. Why? Well, because it's about efficient output. When you bring people into your inner circle, the right people, who have different giftings, different passions, different personalities, different histories, different perspectives. We're better together. 2 are better than 1. Why? Because we need the mutual support. Because we will, you will, I will fall down in 2026. We all will. Who's going to help you up? Whether physically you just need help or morally you need help. Who's that person you're going to call? Who's going to call you? Who are you willing to help up? 2 are better than 1. Why? Because we need emotional strength. We need, again, this is not about quantity. This is about quality. The right people in our inner circle that we bring inside of our bubble. And they just know what we're struggling with, what's challenging us, what's keeping us up at night. And that we provide that emotional strength for each other. And we need people who has our back, physical protection. That literally they are watching our back. You see, we are better together. We are stronger together. We are wiser together. And for 2026, my encouragement for all of us is let's not go at it alone. Let's choose to be together. My prayer, if you're married, that you work on your marriage and you have the best year as husband, wife, together. If you're dating someone, that you have the best year together. That you work on you, that person works on themselves, and together you get better. If you own a business, work at a business, lead people, that you will just own the fact that you are better together in your friendship circles. You're better together. Even if one hurts you, you're better together. You're better together. Hold on to that. And I'm telling you, in those mountaintop moments, you're going to celebrate with such a cool group of people. And in the valleys, you're going to have people walking with you, and you're going to walk with them. And as you look back on 2026, there's going to be some really cool people that have journeyed with you. And those relationships will be stronger. Those relationships will bring so much more meaning. Those relationships, those people. As you think back on 2026, you'll see their faces. Remember, hold on to the truth, to the wisdom that we are better together. Let's pray. Lord, I pray that we will take that to heart. When we're hurt, we want to just kind of isolate and shove people away. But Lord, I pray that we'll lean into the wisdom of Solomon, that two are better than one. That we're better, we are stronger, we are wiser when we are together. In your name I pray.